Joe Rogan has just weighed in on Jon Jones' shocking retirement. And fans are hanging on every word. While Jon stepping away had been building for months, shearing it, confirmed by Dana White, lit a fire under the entire MMA world.
Decide who the heavyweight champion is. And if Tom is the interim heavyweight champion and Jon decides he doesn't want to fight anymore, he could do that. And he could do that also and then come back in a year and fight for the title. He could do that. He could do whatever he wants. But he might decide, you know what, had an unbelievable career, never lost, except the disqualification lost to a rule that has since been reversed. He's the GOAT. He retires, he's got plenty of money, he's got an opportunity to do some acting. Yeah, you're calling out Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Right? That's the boogeyman. Like, Jon Jones is the fucking boogeyman. When he fought Gustafsson, he had almost no training camp. They said he barely showed up, talked to Jackson about it, and Greg Jackson was telling me, he's like, he didn't even train for that fight. He pulled that fight off in the 4th and 5th rounds. That's when he really turned it up. So you're talking about a guy who hasn't even been training. And then you saw the real Jon Jones in the second fight. That's motivated Jon Jones. Jon Jones is a bad guy who's trying to be a good guy. If we were living 1,000 years ago, he would be on a horse with the biggest battle axe, hacking heads off, and everybody would be running. And those people have always existed. These dominators have always existed. But Jon is like a genuinely sensitive, intelligent guy who's trying to do the right thing. But he's a fucking conqueror. He's a fucking conqueror. That's the thing that's inside of him that leads him to be the GOAT. Jon Jones, one of the greatest of all time.
He's going to come back. He's going to fight Tom.
Yes. You don't think so? No? Really?
For what?
For glory.
He already has the glory.
Yeah, one more glory before the lights fade.
Yeah.
Jon's a conqueror.
He's the best of all time. No one can say the opposite of that. He's the best.
And now Joe Rogan, who's followed Jon's career closer than almost anyone, didn't hold back in saying what this really means for the UFC and the heavyweight division moving forward.
I just wondered, how does Jon Jones deal with retirement? Is Jon so wild? What is Jon going to do when it's all done? I mean, for the last 3 years, Jon has been thinking, okay, I'm going to build up to become a heavyweight.
Yeah,
he goes in this extensive weightlifting program, obviously put in all this work to get so big and really built himself up to be a legitimate heavyweight. And now, and also Jon is what, 36 now? How old is Jon now?
I don't know.
How old is Jon Jones? When you go back to Jon Jones's first fight with Shogun, fighting for the world title. I always say this, one of the wildest things I've ever seen. The guy's fighting for the world title, youngest guy, 35, youngest guy ever to win the title. He opens up against a legend with a flying knee.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Yeah, you can't.
Jon was just...
Joe pointed out what many fans have been quietly saying: Jon leaving now isn't just about age or injuries. It's about timing. He's stepping away right as Tom Aspinall is peaking and ready to claim the throne for good.
I just feel like anybody would understand at this point. I'll retire the heavyweight belt if I have to. It's like, dude, give the guy what he wants at the end of the day, And I'm not talking to Dana directly. I feel like I'm at a place now where, I want to take what I find these super fights. I don't want to fight dangerous up-and-comers anymore. I want to fight dangerous, established champions. So Tom can have the heavyweight championship. I don't really care about it. That my body doesn't lie in belts anymore. I've created something much bigger.
You said the timeline for Jones, 2 weeks to decide what to do with the title, but whether it takes the fight or you're going to strip him. What do you think is more important, to keep the belt there so he can uphold his legacy, or we move the heavyweight division, take the title away from him?
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
Yeah, conditions.
Francis says he changed his mind and he would consider coming back to the UFC. Would you be open to having Francis back?
He would consider coming back to UFC if what? One thing I've learned over the years about Francis doesn't always mean what he says publicly. What he says behind the scenes are different than what he says publicly. I'm not a big fan. I would be shocked if Francis ever came back here on lots of different levels. I'm not a fan, and he doesn't always mean what he says publicly.
Who is the number one contender right now?
So International Fight Week starts Monday in Las Vegas, and Tom will be in Vegas all week with us. So we'll get together with him and figure out what's next.
What's up, everybody? Breaking news. So you came to the right place. ESPN MMA YouTube channel, myself. We got DC on the line to talk to his best friend, his former rival, Jon Jones, officially retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts. We knew, DC, that this had been part of the conversation. We were hoping it wasn't going to be the conversation just yet. I mean, I selfishly was hoping for a fight between he and Tom Aspinall. I don't think I'm the only one. In fact, I know the whole world was kind of hoping for that. In the end, he is not fighting Tom Aspinall. He is retiring from the sport of mixed martial arts, announced by Dana White on Saturday. Your initial thoughts to the announcement that Jon Jones is officially retired from mixed martial arts?
So my first thought, it was like, he actually did it. He actually did it. You know, like, I didn't think that he would walk away. I didn't know that, you know, he would allow for or would be able to handle what comes with making this decision right now in the optics of it, Brett. Do you understand what I'm saying? What it looks like to people. I didn't know that his ego would be able to handle walking away. I figured he would fight based on that. But he didn't. And it's crazy. I said something the other day, Brett, and I don't want this to be like me crapping on Jon Jones, but I said something on my YouTube channel. I said, if Jon Jones doesn't fight this guy, he quit. Right? He quit.
And so he is. He's walking away because he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. Because if Francis Ngannou was there or Alex Pereira was there, he'd be trying to fight those guys. He's made that very clear. He doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And so Tom Aspinall could walk around now with his chest up, chin up, and say, I retired Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall retired Jon Jones. There is no doubt about that. Tom Aspinall's presence is the reason why Jon Jones is no longer the UFC heavyweight champion. Jon Jones said yesterday, the fight doesn't excite me. You could make a strong case that this would be the biggest Jon Jones fight since DC2 in 2017. 2017. That's how long. With all due respect to the Anthony Smiths, the Thiago Santoses, the Dominic Reyes, even Ciryl Gane and Stipe. You're telling me those fights were bigger than this? What doesn't excite you about this? That you may lose? Listen, I've never subscribed to the Duck stuff, but the way this has been handled has been shameful. It's been shameful. Like I said, UFC got him the money. Once he said no, it was time to move on. Tom Aspinall wants to fight twice this year. He'd like to fight in October and at the end of the year. More likely than not, you aren't getting those two fights. In the prime of his life, when he's killing everyone, beating them by knockout in 60, 70, 80 seconds, he had to sit around and wait for a guy because the UFC didn't want to move on in what was something that could have been determined back in November. It's shameful. And the way Jon is trying to spin this by like, he's such an awesome guy. He's such a great guy. But, you know, he could slip. And there could always be another one. It's shameful is the word that keeps coming to mind. It's conniving. It's unfortunate because Jon does have one of the greatest resumes of all time. He really does. If you think he's the greatest of all time, God bless. You have a very strong case. But in my opinion, George St. Pierre never embarrassed himself, never embarrassed the organization, never cheated, never got caught using PEDs, beat the undisputed champion at 170, beat the undisputed champion at 185, never held up the division, vacated the title when you needed to, came back when you needed to. There's no debate. All these things matter. And yes, he has 2 losses, and yes, he avenged both those losses. And so they've known for quite some time, several months, that he was out. Dana White told us a couple of weeks ago. What did he say? Jon Jones agreed. But I told you all, he wasn't telling you the real story. He wasn't telling you the full story. The full story was he agreed and then he reneged. Dana White guaranteed this fight would happen. He guaranteed it would happen as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It was already not a thing. The way in which this has been handled has not been great. And the fact that Tom Aspinall, at the very least, couldn't get some sort of, oh, here's the belt, here's a ceremony, here's your fight, here's your date, is shameful. Now, ultimately, Tom doesn't care about any of this. He really doesn't. He just wants to fight. It was never about Jon Jones. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones was a great addition to the whole scenario, to the equation. Oh, wow, I could beat Jon Jones to become UFC heavyweight champion, undisputed, incredible. Look at me, look at the stars I've aligned for me. But ultimately, this guy just wanted to become champion. He wanted to prove he was the best. And by the way, he has been the best for the last couple of years. Yesterday, I spoke to GSP, and I told GSP, and that interview is going to air on Monday. We spoke to him at Fanatics Fest. He did it the best. Again, compare what he did to what Jon Jones did. And this is one of many reasons why I consider GSP the greatest of all time. When GSP beat Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167, he relinquished the belt that night. He didn't hold up anyone. He didn't stop anyone from living out their dreams. And in case you're wondering, that's a part of the fight game too. Time-honored tradition. The train rolls along. He comes back 4 years later to fight Michael Bisping. Gives up the belt. 2-3 weeks later, he's diagnosed with colitis. He beat Michael Bisping, who was the undisputed champion at the time. He didn't beat some interim champ or fight for a vacant title, and he didn't hold up the division. That's how you do it. Not this. Jon Jones fought Ciryl Gane for a vacant title. He didn't even beat the real champ, who was Francis Ngannou. And then, when he got hurt, he waited a full extra year to fight Stipe. The fight didn't make sense a year prior. He fought him a year later, and it still didn't make sense. And then when it was time to fight the interim champion, he campaigned for Alex Pereira. And then when Alex Pereira lost, he campaigned for Francis Ngannou. This was never about not wanting to fight. This was a calculated business decision on Jon Jones' end to say, hey, I could walk away undefeated. I could walk away as the man.
Joe believes Jon probably knows how good Tom really is. It's no surprise that GOAT wants to leave on top instead of risking it all against the most dangerous heavyweight the UFC has seen in years. At the same time, Joe gave Jon massive respect, calling him one of the greatest martial artists ever, and reminding everyone that no one stayed at the top longer than Jon Jones. But he also made it clear, Tom Aspinall is the kind of fighter who can define the next generation, and now that Jon's gonna there's no one left to slow him down.
Only make an interim champion when the champion cannot defend the belt. So for Jon Jones, he couldn't defend the belt because he tore his pec muscle. So the interim champion means he should be fighting the champion right off the bat. That's not the case with Jon Jones, right? Because Jon Jones is gonna fight Stipe Miocic. So the interim champion is supposed to sit there and wait. But by law, in like the regulations, once Jon Jones steps in the cage, he is stripped of his interim champion because the champion has returned. There is no longer for interim champion. What is the point of having interim champion when the champion is ready to fight?
This is the only sport in the world you can have somebody hold your career back.
Yep. I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything. Just be ready, and we'll just let you know.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of difficult, like mentally, to.
Oh yeah.
This is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough. As you said a minute ago, no one really knows what's going on behind the scenes apart from me.
Exactly. You're in office cooking.
I train all the time anyway. Just because I've not got a fight doesn't mean I don't train. Like, I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title. That's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matters. So
you're like, let me do my thing. Let me fight.
I just want to fight.
And I think that's the respectful way to go about it. It's like, you don't care if it's Jon, and it's no disrespect to Jon. It's no disrespect to anybody out there. You're just trying to fight. Yep. I just want to fight.
Yep.
Nah, man. Jon's retired. What are we talking about, guys? This is Jon. You guys don't follow Jon on social media?
I don't follow him on social media. He said that.
No, me too, actually. Me too. But the guy is living his best life. He's had a fantastic career. We all know. We know Jon's a religious man, so I want to say God bless him moving forward in what he does with his life and his career. And you know, we move on. We move on. I'm the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I'm ready to take on all comers, get this division moving again. Us guys have been waiting around too long. You know, the contenders are getting sick of it. Everybody's getting sick of it. Even the fans are getting sick of this stuff. So Jon's retired and it's time that we move on.
Retired Jon Jones. Just as he predicted, Tom Aspinall, over a year ago, I think, said, I will retire this man without even having to fight him. He's never going to fight me. And despite all the umming and ahhing and all the fucking pretending that he was going to actually ever get in the cage with Tom Aspinall, Jon Jones has done what we always knew he was going to do. He's tucked tail and ran. Imagine calling yourself a GOAT and yet yet behaving like such a duck. I mean, this is like back in the playground. Jon Jones has got a bike. Tom Aspinall's come over and goes, give us your bike now. What you have to do then is fight. You have to defend what your shit is and say, no, you're not going to take this. And do you know what Jon Jones did? You have it. I don't want to fight. You can have it. This is unbelievable. The greatest of all time. What a load of shit. I'm sorry. Never going to call that him the GOAT. Ever again. Because being the greatest of all time is not just about winning. And that's what Jon Jones doesn't understand. It's about how you conduct yourself throughout the whole of your career. Are you willing to fight the biggest challenges, the biggest tests, go in there and test yourself against everyone? And Jon Jones proved, without a shadow of a doubt, his biggest test, stepped up and he bottled it well and truly. Remember this clip from like over a year ago when Jon actually met Tom in person?
Respect, man. All the best. Respect. All the best. Do a quick picture. Sure. Yeah? Let's get it. A face-off. No, okay.
He wouldn't even face off with Tom Aspinall, let alone get in a cage with him. And after all of the fannying around and waiting for Jon Jones to man up and strap his balls on and defend his heavyweight title, because you've never really earned it. You beat a guy who wasn't even the champion. You beat Stipe. Oh my God, what a farce that fight was. That will go down as the most pointless, pathetic fight I can imagine.
Dana White has admitted he's frustrated. He says Jon agreed to defend the belt, but changed his mind last second, officially retiring, leaving Tom hanging once again. Joe pointed out how unfair that is for a fighter in his prime who wants to fight 3 times a year, not once every 2. Now, with Jon gone for good, Tom Aspinall is stepping into a true king role. He's already said he won't let the belt collect dust, and he's ready to fight any Rogan, Volkov, Almeida, or whoever steps up. Joe summed it up perfectly. This is the end of an era, but the start of something fans have wanted for years. A young, active, hungry heavyweight champ who wants to defend, not just protect.
Accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight. What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate? There's a lot of reports about figures he was offered. Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you, do you think he's ducking Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, you know, I think the reality is whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but you know, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the matchup, doesn't fancy the age difference?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. Only he does. You know, we had the fight done. Listen, our job is to make the biggest fights we can make and the fights that the fans want to see, and that's what we try to do. But the minute somebody starts talking about retirement, you know my philosophy on that, you should do it.
Did you know about the stuff that came out of Albuquerque last night?
I saw it today. When I saw it today, I said, oh, everybody's going to think this is why he retired. Maybe that is why he retired. Who the hell knows, man? But yeah, I don't know. These are all questions you got to ask him. We had the fight done. You know, you saw me talking about it very confidently that this fight was going to happen. And then he changed his mind.
Right, everyone, the news has broken. I'm sure everybody's seen it. UFC undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Moving forward, very, very important to me, just that I acknowledge everybody quickly who has supported me in this. I'm not going to say it was a tough time, but a bit of a challenging time over like the last kind of 10, 11 months that I have been inactive due to no fault of my own. But luckily, that is all behind us now. Massively appreciate the support from everybody. Massively appreciate the support going forward. I am going to keep this thing as active as possible. I want to be the best heavyweight ever to walk the face of the earth. I'm going to defend this thing as many times as I possibly can. I'm going to keep you guys entertained now. I'm going to really give back to everybody who has shown me support over the last year, over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years. Really appreciate the support and love from everybody, and we're going to see an active, defending UFC heavyweight undisputed champion going forward. Thank you guys, and I'll speak to you.
The MMA community debates whether Jon was smart to retire or just dodged Tom. One thing is clear, heavyweight division finally feels alive again. The GOAT has walked away, but the next in line is here, and Joe Rogan, like the fans, knows it.